It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielson and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
All right, 12:01 live on The Oil Stream. Thank you very much for being here, Dustin Nielson and handsome Tom Gazzola with you today. T-Biscuit, huge wiener. Hey, which of those names do you like the best, buddy?
Although
I think
flattering.
your computer's on. Is your computer on?
Yeah, it is. Sorry about that. Turned it on.
That's
mute.
okay,
There we
buddy.
go. Hello to Penny. I'm dog sitting the family dog. She's at my place as my parents.
And
move.
is she watching?
She's got EST on. I
Oh,
left
nice.
it on for her. Hello,
That's good.
Penny.
I love Penny's time spent listening today. That's great.
She is. She's an avid listener. When she's at my brother's place, he keeps the audio stream going for her. So, hello, Penny. I'll be home soon to take you for a chocolate hot dog break.
What? What? Oh. Tommy.
As long as she doesn't cook one in my place.
Breaking news. No. Breaking news. It's confirmed.
Chris Johnson.
Okay. Jack Campbell has been claimed. Whew. Just kidding. He's been cleared.
Claimed by no one, basically.
He cleared. Yeah, he cleared.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that. I apologize. The city's not ready for that right now.
No.
But your kids are going to love it. What movie's that from? You wouldn't know that. Back to the Future. Real classic.
I know Back to the Future.
Remember when he plays the song, he's like, oh, I guess you're not ready for that. But your kids are going to love it.
Chuck Berry.
Yeah, exactly, Tommy. Exactly.
Johnny B. Good?
780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. I love double 3A's. Like, damn it. Like, they actually, people could not have thought that they were actually going to have somebody claim Jack Campbell, right? Like,
no.
I know there was ways to look at it. I saw even on the lock shop just moments ago, people were like, Dusty, what about Pittsburgh and Dubas and Jari's hurt?
Yeah.
But no.
I understand the rationale, but when a guy's playing that bad on a team that's playing really bad.
Matty, don't run in here like that the day that Campbell's clearing waivers. Matty ran in here like he'd just been traded somewhere. God, you scared the crap out of me.
He's busy. He's doing
Holy
stuff.
smokes. Okay. God, that was...
Bones, you're an a-hole, Dusty. Seriously.
Sorry, guys. I mean, I thought it was a funny joke.
No, not good. That's cruel at this point in the juncture. And where we're at with this team as a whole.
The only thing I thought, and it's not even, it's a non-starter as well. But the only thing I thought was somebody would look at it and go, you know what? This is an Oilers structure thing. We think Jack Campbell will be fine behind our team because they actually play defense. That would have been the only reason that somebody would even remotely considered it. And majority of the teams in the league couldn't have done this anyway financially. So it doesn't, yeah. It went as everybody thought it was going to go.
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you think, Tommy? What do you think they're hoping to accomplish with this? Like, is this a move because they think Pickard will solidify the goaltending?
I don't think so.
Or is this a move to send a message to the rest of the group that, look at this, we sent Jack Campbell down?
Warning shot.
Yeah, but how's it a warning shot? Because they're not going to send down Nuge.
Well, no,
they're not going to send down anybody else of significance.
But they did something, right? They did something. I think this is the warning. If they lose tomorrow, it could be someone else being gone. And it's, I don't know. It shouldn't be Jay Woodcroft, but it could be. San Jose has a win now, incredibly, beating Philadelphia.
They're coming in hot, buddy.
Maybe they're going to be all fat and sassy and satisfied tomorrow.
Imagine the Sharks coming in overconfident.
Ooh, we're feeling good. We got the glow of a W.
That would kind of be funny.
That would be funny. Now, what's even funnier or sad, depending on how you look at it, is Edmonton. Oh, no. Yeah, they would be. Right?
Well, it would come down to games played at that point.
Where's San Jose
I would
at?
think.
I'm on the media site.
This guy, this text is in 780-218-9999. You said it, and I started walking up to my phone in disbelief. How dare you, Dusty? I thought, you know what? That's what the city needs, that, right? The city needs a little humor with their Oilers' despair. And I was happy to provide that for you for just a small moment of time.
A trepidation, perhaps? You created
Whatever.
unnecessary antsiness?
I Tube Suck says, send someone down after each loss until they win, which is good. But, like, I honestly, they're not losing to San Jose. I mean, if
we
they
can't even say that anymore.
If they lose to San Jose, you will have 2,000 people at one time in the nasty chat on the post game.
We had 840 at one point on Monday.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And that's losing to a good Vancouver team. Like,
that is a good Vancouver team playing very well. Also, a moment of disappointment via the NAS. I don't know, I'm not scolding anyone,
Whoa.
but I had to mute some people or
What?
put them in timeout. There was some.
I think you're the first person to time out anybody.
There was comments, and people were coming in from
other
markets,
teams and stuff. Yeah.
and they were stirring crap up with.
Were they
Oilers
swearing?
fans. No, there was racist stuff going on.
What?
I didn't like it.
Oh, well, of course you're going to mute those
absolutely.
people.
So
Yeah.
I had to. There's a timeout function.
Yeah.
Just, if we're not catching it because it was crazy on the nasty chat.
That was a busy chat.
It was. Just send us a text to our text line 780-218-9999.
Like a little bit of a
Put kibosh.
tattletale, but sometimes it's okay to tattletale. I
No,
hope my
and
kids aren't listening to this, but sometimes it's okay to tattletale.
The stuff that was being said was over the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so
good.
It got to that point, and there's a million things happening on the post game all at once. It was a wild post game. YouTube Trev was excellent on Monday night. I have to give him credit once again because he deserves it. But yeah, like it's hard to police everything, but like I saw some stuff in there where I was just like, I know it's not our regular watchers and viewers and listeners, but that did occur. So we're keeping tabs on it, absolutely. So just I'm making a note of it. But yeah. As for what's next, and if they lose tomorrow, yes, it'll go berserk. Obviously, that's the natural inclination for this market, which makes our job fun, creates chaos. You don't want to see it tomorrow, though.
No, I mean if they lose to San Jose tomorrow, man, something is certainly effed with this team. I would
things
think.
are already out.
Yeah.
It's
So
been
how
an
effed are they? Like how effed up do you think it is? Because I still sit here and I go, well, they're not this bad. Like they can't be this bad.
They're not supposed to be this bad.
Yeah, but even if you look at them on paper right now, it shouldn't be this bad.
No, it's in a gutter. It's snowballed. The dominoes have fallen. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. It's rough, and you know, and I admire this and I appreciate it, and I don't disagree with pretty much all of the suggestions that come in from viewers and listeners. It's like, hey, this part of their game is wrong. If they fix this, it should help. But then you get another comment, they'll be like, well, this part of their game is messed up. If they fix it. So much of, essentially, all elements of this team right now are not functioning properly.
They all deserve to be under the microscope in some way, shape, or form.
From top to bottom. Executive hockey ops, middle of the pack hockey ops, lower bottom of the hockey ops. Nobody's doing great. Coaching staff, not executing. Players, top six, not executing. Superstars, not executing. Defense, not executing, obviously. Goaltending, clearly not executing. Like, top to bottom, nobody is even functioning at an adequate level. It is an absolute tire fire. And they know it. They recognize it. And people say, well, do something about it. They're working on it. Something needs to take here.
Well, that's why I come back around to sending down Jack Campbell. Like, will it lead to more accountability with the group? And I
hope so.
But I don't think so.
But I don't know because, like,
this is what I said. But you still can't healthy scratch anybody. And
know.
Jay Woodcraft has basically said, like, the one spot you would want to sit somebody down would be, you know, if you're losing a game and they've caused major issues. But most of these guys, they need to score goals to get back into games. So he's not gonna Huberto somebody. I'd be surprised. He hasn't done it yet. Doesn't seem like he's gonna do it.
And Speck, to his credit, was on Jay Woodcroft about the potential of benching Bouchard and that not happening. And from what I recall, when we were listening and watching Jay on the post game, he kind of skirted that. But there was Bouchard out on the next shift, and people were giving Speck credit. I know they like to tee off on Speck, and Speck goes in there, and he asks the tough ones. He's been through the ringer so many times for so many years. And I thought he was on top of his game the other night in the post game in Vancouver. And, you know, Woodcroft was surprisingly spry in that post game because we've seen him disheveled and not his usual self for the last couple of weeks. But he had pep in his step, but he didn't really attack that question. Why isn't Bouchard being sat for stupid reads and bad pinches? He should be.
It to me, it's like it's not even. Let's say it happens in the first. It doesn't even have to be the rest of the game.
No.
Sit him down for the rest of the period. Run. I don't know. Go down to 4D if you want, or play Kulak on the right side for a couple of shifts, and you can get through it. You rely on Nurse and Ekholm on the left side. Rotate the other three guys through on the right side, and maybe after a period. It's a wake-up call for Bouchard a little bit. But, like, to me, as long as they're losing in hockey games, it sounds like Woodcroft basically needs Bouchard to try to get back in the game. So, that's – I don't know. You set this scary standard by never be willing to do it with anybody outside of, like, if Dylan Holloway makes a mistake or Broberg makes a mistake. You know, like, it's just – like, yeah, I'm going to dial this back. I know some people are going to hate this, but when Jesse Puljujärvi screwed up, he got plastered to the bench.
Yes.
Like he did in games.
Correct. He did.
Right.
It happened.
He did.
It did happen.
Holloway has.
Yes.
And Broberg got sent down. Yeah. But anybody else that ever makes a mistake or doesn't put in the right effort, we said this on the morning.
Harney a little bit from time to time.
Yeah, but maybe it should be more there.
Less of an impact.
But that's probably when they have 7 and maybe.
Yeah.
We asked this morning on our show, kind of coming off the Huberdeau discussion. And once again, 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat as well if you have any questions. And obviously you'll have a lot of concerns, but if you have any questions that you would like us to address, and we'll get into some rumors and stuff that have been kicking around as well. But how do you think it would go, Tommy, if I'm going to use one of the big two as an example, either McDavid or Draisaitl? It's a 3-on-2. They're within striking distance of the high guy, kind of a Bouchard situation where they don't skate all the way back as hard as they can, and they score a goal off of it. How do you think the fan base would view it if Woodcroft sat McDavid or Draisaitl for like 8 minutes at the end of a second period because they were directly responsible due to effort for a goal against? Because, I mean, I think a lot of people now would be like, good, hold some people accountable, yes. But then there'll still be other people who go, you can't do that to McDavid or Draisaitl. So where do you think the fan base would be at with the way that this thing has started if Woodcroft actually did hold one of those two guys accountable, even for just a 6, 7, 8 minute stretch?
Now I think the fan base would say, good.
You think they would?
I think they'd be like, yes, you need to wake up too. Because guess what? They're stuck in the muck with the rest of the group. It's not like those two have been exceptional this season. They've been two of their better players. That's not saying much. We've been giving Evander Kane, rightly so, Sam Gagner, rightly so, and Warren Foegele, rightly so, credit for being
Fogel's
drivers.
Work ethic has been consistent.
And I don't care if it's a contract year or not, he's showing up. And yes, he's got the dangling carrot because he wants another contract, but at least he's using that fuel to his fire. Those other guys, and I've supported them, I've defended them because they have been two of the best players in the world. This year, they're two of the better players, but they're not in their usual spot. So if you make a mistake or you let up on a back check, you should be held accountable. Now, will that happen? I think, and if the situation is dire and continues to be dire as it is, only 11 games into the season, again, it feels so ridiculous to say that. I think that Jay Woodcroft, if he feels the heat is really cranked up on him, I think he would resort at some point to sitting those guys for 8 to 10 minutes, and they skip a couple of shifts.
I'd still be shocked if it happened.
I think if he feels like his job is on the line, he will get to that point, because at that point, you've got nothing to lose, right? So you may as well. And I hope, this is hypothetical, if that were to ever happen, whether it be McDavid or Draisaitl that has a mistake or does something wrong and they're held to account by the head coach, if it gets to that point again, re-emphasizing that they would take that and be pissed off and use it as motivation to be better. As opposed
to pouting.
Sulking,
that comes back
pouting, and
around
being
to my
upset.
comment about growing up.
Yeah.
Like a team growing, like you deal with things differently when you're an adult than
I
you do
hope
when you're
it
like 21, 22 type of thing. Like,
Yeah, I hope it would be like, oh yeah, this a-hole sitting me,
yeah.
I'm going to show him when I finally get back out there. Sometimes you need that. And I know it's a different, we talk about the mindset of players nowadays and the generation's different, and that's totally understandable, and I agree. Sometimes, though, that kick works, even for the newer generation. Does it always work? Probably not. But I hope in a circumstance like this hypothetical one we're talking about right now, that it would work. I hope it doesn't get to that point, Dusty. Tomorrow night, I hope we're talking about a victory for the sake of everybody. Win or lose, we have to talk about the game.
Well, I mean, what's going to happen tomorrow is they're going to roll. They're going to roll tomorrow. Everything's going to be fine. Friday morning, we're going to be playing goal songs. It's going to be like everything.
Great.
But then it's
Great.
like, if they go on this 3-game trip and their one win is against San Jose and they lose to Seattle and Vancouver, it's a disaster.
Yeah,
Like, that's a
we're right
disaster of
back
a trip.
to square one, where
Yeah.
we are today. Sure. That Seattle game is going to be hard. Seattle wants to bury the Oilers. Seattle wants to get their game going. You know what, man? The rest of this season is an uphill grind.
Yes.
And they're in a dogfight, which is
You know,
ridiculous.
I selfishly, we said this a few times. This is great for our content at Edmonton Sports
Yeah,
Talk,
of
but
course.
not just this start. Like it sucks. We want to be playing goal song. We're gonna do that, but for the team now, because every single thing is going to be hard the entire way, the rest of the way. That's great for interaction with us and the fan base. Because, I mean, even if they go on a heater, all a heater does is get them back to square one.
Yeah.
Then they got to go on another heater on top of that to get back to any sort of expectations.
or just stay on a heater.
Right? So, like, every game now is like this game against Seattle this weekend. I'm making a mistake by skipping over the Sharks game, too. The Sharks just beat Philly. You know who lost to Philly earlier this year?
Edmonton.
The Edmonton Oilers. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. There's a reason they play the games on the ice, right? That's what they say. But, like, this game against Seattle is huge. Like, it's in November, but that's a huge hockey game.
I know.
This weekend. Like,
I know.
which you wouldn't really have said if the Oilers were cruising along like the Canucks sitting at like 9-2-0 or something.
9-2-1,
right? So,
yeah.
So it definitely has kind of changed that for sure. Just to follow up on the McDavid Draisaitl accountability thing. One guy brought up in the nasty chat this morning when we were having this discussion. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. But he basically said, you're not going to do that with 1 year left on Leon Draisaitl's deal. It's like you can't piss this guy off.
But
you
why
need him
is-
to stay. And I'm
why
like,
is the coach thinking about his
Well-
player's contract in the moment of a game?
one, I would also say that sitting Leon, if sitting Leon Draisaitl one time leads him to not want to be here anymore, then see you later, good riddance anyway. I'm sorry. You know, like you're going to be held accountable one time in your 10 years in Edmonton, and it's going to be like, well, I'm going to go play somewhere else now. You don't think you're going to get held accountable with Los Angeles or the Rangers or somebody like that? Like, so to
What
me,
if-
it's
what
like,
if an
who
area-
cares?
Yeah. What if an airing of grievances, again, like if it were to happen, this is if, what if that helps, an airing of grievances?
Like a full-blown in the room, everybody yells at everybody?
Well, even if it was, again, totally hypothetical, like say a Draisaitl doesn't backcheck, gets sat, is pissed off, and blows up on Woody, and Woody blows up on him, and then they clear the air,
And then they make up.
because that could happen too,
And sometimes making up's the best part. And then all of a sudden, you're back on track.
and everybody's on the same page.
Clear the air a little bit.
It can happen. There's so many different ways it can go, but again, we're playing the hypothetical game a little bit here. I don't know, dude. Like, there's so many head scratchers this year.
When everything's an issue, it's you know what you need to do? You need to relax. You need to turn it all off And you need to go to One Putt Virtual Golf. And this is cool. They just emailed this to me earlier this week. They are hosting a 4-man cash scramble tournament from November 15th to December 15th using the TrackMan technology. So it's $400 per team to get in, so $100 a guy or a girl. And it includes 9 hours of golf, so 2 rounds, 4.5 each round. And your team can play any day that fits the time on your schedule. You just go in, you play your round, and it's like a little bit of a tournament. And it works out. And One Putt is guaranteeing a $1,000 prize pool, regardless of the number of entrants. So there's $1,000 on the line here. If you want to sign up, you get some buddies together. You get to go have a good time. You can play the rounds when you want. So if you want to book them during like an Oilers game, I would think what you could do is enter yourself into this tournament, go watch an Oilers game, play your 4.5-hour round, and maybe you end up winning money out of it with the prize pool being at $1,000.
That's pretty sweet.
If you sign up by November 12th, which is in 4 days. You only pay $360 for your team as opposed to $400 for your team. So more info and how to sign up available at www.oneputt. That's the number 1, oneputt.ca/scramble, or you can follow them on Instagram at oneputtYEG. But I think that's pretty cool. Like if you're gonna have a facility like this, you should plan events and tournaments and things like this. I think that's kind of neat.
That is cool.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. All right, let's see here. KGill97 says, Tommy, Spectre this morning and Reed Wilkins last night said the Oilers are quietly discussing getting Jordan Binnington. What do you guys think about that?
If it were to happen, makes the goaltending better right away. I've been told that that's something that...
Not necessarily on the radar or what?
It might be, but it sounds like it's quiet in the Oilers HQ right now in regard to that. But I also think that if you're not trying to make something happen and poke and pry around the league, then you're not doing your job. And I feel like there's probably been phone calls that have been made.
My Wi-Fi's kind of
the Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Are we getting the
Friday? The guy's coming in to take a look.
Wi-Fi guy's coming in Friday.
Wi-Fi's guy.
This is like I'm gonna flip over to my LTE. I want to bring up Binnington's. Now you have to remember Binnington's a bit of a snap show.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Well, that's so. I mean,
but he can.
Are you in a spot where it's okay to bring in an idiot if they can stop pucks?
Yeah. Does he help you win?
I guess that would
what do you need
probably be okay.
Does he push Stuart Skinner? Yeah. Yeah. I mean. You need something to spark your team. He's been a part of a team that had the most epic climb to the top. From the pits of despair in January of 2019 to the tippy top of the mountain, hoisting that beautiful silver chalice at the end of the season.
Great description.
Thank you.
So Binnington this year has a .919. Hello.
Whoa.
Last year, I didn't even know save percentages went that high.
They go that high. They go over 875.
But last year he had an 894, and the year before that he had a 901. So this could be is this a situation where the Blues are almost like, let's sell high right now? Kind of thing,
yeah.
Maybe. I mean, that could possibly be the case. But like Tommy said, it doesn't seem like there's anything that would be described as close right now on this front.
Yeah, I've been told it's kind of quiet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're poking around. And we know Holland picks up the phone and makes a lot of calls.
He likes being on the phone, doesn't he?
Holland be calling. So, how you like that?
I don't know if I love it or I hate it.
Yeah,
Holland be calling.
Yeah.
Binnington has this year and 3 more years left at a $6 million cap hit. So this would be a situation where Jack Campbell's going one way and you are juicing it up significantly and then bringing Binnington back the other way with a little bit retained.
Yeah, you have to find a way to make the money work. So
in the dreamland of some people, I did see certain people suggesting, what about a Binnington, Colton Parayko package deal?
That would be amazing.
How
likely is it? I don't know. I have my doubts. That's just me being the contrarian, being like, oh, how could you pull that off? How could you fleece St. Louis when they're trying to fleece you? St. Louis is off to a better start than Edmonton, obviously. They're in the mix at least. 2 points back of a wild card spot very early in the season. Do they feel like they need a shakeup? I know Parayko would be highly coveted and touted here. I love the idea of it. How likely do I think it is? Just me, 15% to 20%.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think the situation that they're in is that they'd have to look at a bunch of different things, right? So we'll see. I don't know. I like you see Binnington on the ice be a bit of a snap show.
Yeah.
I don't know how he is as a teammate or anything. Like, have you heard it?
I haven't been
like,
told anything.
So
I haven't really asked. I just enjoyed when Devin Dubnyk shoot him away to get off the ice in San Jose a few years ago. I thought that was fun.
Oh yeah, he did. You're right.
Get off the ice.
Get off the ice.
Doobie doesn't care. I know Doobie. He doesn't put up with BS. Get off the ice.
Chris Morris says Binnington has a little bit of Rolison in him.
Yeah, but I think he's Rolison knew how to contain it better. Whereas Binnington, I think even in his
that seems like it's uncontrollable screw loose.
Yeah, there's an element of a screw being loose is there because even in his interviews, he throws it in your face. You're like, that was a very harmless question that was asked, and you're getting upset about it. There's a cockiness there, but he backed it up. He's a Cup champion. There's no denying that, and he's a better goalie than anything Edmonton's had over the last 2 years. Unfortunately.
Boys, Reed Wilkins is hearing rumblings about Binnington.
Yes,
Armstrong and Holland are boys. I could totally see it being a thing, but how would you feel about that? He looks like a dink. I love, dink is just a funny word.
It is.
And it's not even a dirty word. It's just a dink. It sounds hilarious.
I honestly, who sent that one in?
I'm not even done reading it yet. Hontorio Momes.
Hunter, that's an appropriate term.
He says
in this situation.
Even if I was calling a CFL game and I'm going to say they're going to dink and dunk their way down the field,
you giggle.
I would giggle a little bit.
In pickleball, dinking is an actual term.
Is it a move?
And you get in the kitchen and you.
So what do you say? You dinked me? You get into my kitchen and dink me?
Good dinking. You got it in the kitchen.
Who invented pickleball?
I don't know, but it seems like a lot of fun. I've never tried it.
Whoever invented pickleball must be hilarious. They have to be hilarious.
Yeah, dirty mind.
Anyway, he says he looks like a dink, but that might also bring them into some fights. Great numbers this year, and is a playoff performer. So maybe okay. So let's just expand on this. What would you have to add to Jack Campbell to get them to take on the rest of that deal, to bring in Jordan Binnington, and there would have to be some evening up of the money because Binnington makes $1 million more, so you'd also have to probably pay a little bit of a so you're paying them to not only take Campbell but to also retain a little bit. That's not cheap, man.
You literally don't have anything on the roster. Right?
To include in?
Yeah.
No.
Because they can barely ice a full lineup. So would it have to be a Borgo? This is hypothetical, of course. Would it have to be a pick?
Like a first rounder, though.
Ugh.
Unless the Blue... No, I think it'd have to be extremely pricey. Unless the Blues see some sort of value in Jack Campbell that we're not necessarily seeing here, I think that would be it would cost a pretty penny to make a deal like that go down. Now, if you're the Edmonton Oilers and you're Ken Holland and you think Jordan Binnington comes in here and completely solidifies your goaltending and makes you a true Cup contender again, then maybe you're willing to pay whatever the price is. However, Stuart Skinner outplayed Binnington last year.
Yeah.
Skinner was better than Binnington last year. So
how good is Binnington with this team's defense right now?
He's losing his bloody mind.
Yeah.
I think it was KGill97 in the Nasty Chat earlier who said he would literally suplex Evan Bouchard in front of him.
If he could lift him, because he doesn't seem like I know he acts tough.
He seems pretty thin.
He's wiry, yeah.
Yeah. That's a great way to describe him. Binnington's a wiry guy, isn't he?
Now, would that be entertaining to see? Yes, if it were to ever happen. How realistic is it? Minimal chance that happens. I'm just looking at...
What are you looking at?
Okay, let's look at it from a Blues perspective.
Okay.
Your goalie is Jordan Binnington, right?
Correct.
He also has a no-trade clause.
Okay. Oh.
We should add that in.
Okay.
And your backup right now is Joel Hofer. Who do you have in the minors for goaltender?
I do not have the depth chart of the
I'm
St.
looking
Louis
at it
Blues
right now.
in front of me.
Let's wander down here.
But they're going to have to take Campbell back no matter what.
And are you just sewering your season like they have Malcolm Subban in the minors? Like, you're a 5-5-1 team. You're looking to bounce back after a really rough year last year, and you're getting rid of your franchise goalie, and you're taking back Jack Campbell, and you're calling up Malcolm Subban, and you're relying on him and Joel Hofer to maybe get you into the playoffs? From a logic standpoint for St. Louis, unless they're working on something else on the side, which I don't know they would be. I don't think they would be. Why are you doing this deal?
Well, this comes back around to I know why they'd be doing this deal.
Why are you doing this deal?
Because the Oilers would be paying a massive, massive, massive price.
Well,
That would be the reason why they would. Well, Jack Campbell. But what the Blues probably are thinking here, Tommy, is that this comes back around to the thought I had right off the top, where the Blues might be looking at it and going, you know what, Jack Campbell's not a bad goalie. He just plays behind a piss poor defensive system. And they might say, you know what, Jack Campbell in St. Louis here can be a 905 as opposed to an 867. And you know why they look at that? Because the other guy, Stuart Skinner, is like an 850. So they might look at it and go, well, we've watched tape on the Oilers. He's left hung out to dry almost all the time. We don't leave him hung out to dry. He'll look better here. And they're going to give us I just asked the question on Twitter. What would you have to add to Campbell to get Binnington? Brad is suggesting it's Broberg, it's Bourgault, and it's a second.
That's a huge package.
But you just said, why would St. Louis do this? And the only reason would be if it was a huge package coming back the other way.
Broberg being part of that's a good point by Brad. That could happen. I think Broberg, unless he resuscitates his life as an Oiler by having a great run in Bakersfield and then getting a call-up and being the complete opposite of the player we've seen the last year, let's call it calendar year in Edmonton, I think he might be headed. Unfortunately, I talked about this. He might get traded this year. Now that looks likelier.
Guys, why not Binnington and the long-coveted Parayko? Let's get nuts. That text comes in.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
You want to get nuts?
Oh, my God.
So
Batman.
How would that get pulled off? That's... One more time, quickly, just wrap. Parts of the Oil Stream brought to you by One Putt. They've got the 4-man scramble tournament coming up. Guaranteed $1,000 in prizing. Visit www.oneputt.ca/scramble or follow them at OnePuttYEG on the Insta.
I love Insta, and I do follow them. Going back to why you take Campbell back in your argument, well, they're watching tape and saying our defense wouldn't give up that chance, that chance. I'm like, are they just overlooking, hypothetical again, would St. Louis just be overlooking the third Hartman goal in Minnesota? Would they be overlooking the Philip Forsberg goal to open the scoring for the Predators on Saturday afternoon? Would they be overlooking that short side Philadelphia goal? I believe that the Oilers were on a power play where Bouchard made that terrible backpedal and just gave it away. Lost the battle.
Hear what you said there? Bouchard. I honestly, there are more goals against on Jack Campbell this year that aren't his fault than are his fault.
I agree with that statement.
And I don't
100%.
even think it's close.
I agree with that 100%. But I'm asking if a team like a St. Louis were to say, you know what, we have a better defense that doesn't give up those stupid 10-bell chances that the Oilers' defense does. We still trust Jack Campbell. But I'm going, are they overlooking those goals that you go, boy, Jack Campbell really pooped the bed on that one? and he's done it more so lately. And I think they would have to put the blinders on to those goals because some of those goals are terrible. And don't get me wrong, Stu Skinner's let in some.
Skinner's let in some awful
goal
goals
the other
too.
day was terrible. Awful back check in front of him, overcommitment. Defense were backed in, off the rush. There was a cascade of mistakes before it got to him, but the fact that a pedestrian wrister from Pius Suter, 20 feet out, beat him between his body and his arm. Can't be overlooked.
Plus, Pius is such an awful name. Just go with the North American pronunciation of Pius.
Yeah, well, he apparently
Pius.
Ian
Gross.
McIntyre, game 2 of the season, came on the pregame show and he goes, "By the way, it's not Pius, it's Pius."
It's Pius. It's Pius Suter.
So when Pius Suter snipes on you in air quotes,
you can't get beaten by Pius.
He's on a heater. That was his second goal in as many games.
Maybe the Oilers should trade for Pius.
No.
Pius Suter. Parts of the Oil Stream are brought to you by Popeyes. Ghost Pepper Chicken Sandwich is back for a limited time only. Ghost Pepper Chicken Sandwich is gone like a ghost. November 19th. So you got to get on this now. What's today? November 8th. So you got this for about 10 more days. And listen to this description. The Ghost Pepper Sandwich has a spicy kick of ghost pepper mayo spread on our buttery brioche bun with juicy chicken breast and 2 crunchy pickles. Does that not sound good?
That sounds amazing.
$9.99. That's it. Less than $10. They also got a special that goes until the 12th, which is right away here. That's this weekend. 3-piece bone-in chicken. Go get the 3-piece bone-in chicken. And I think they're rolling that for like $8 right now if you just want the 3-piece bone-in.
I like boneless.
Yeah, I'm more of a boneless guy too. I get nervous about what I'm biting into with the bones, right?
Yeah. And speaking of the ghost pepper chicken and it being hot, how about how ice cold the new Ghostbusters looks? And I mean that in the best way possible because it's called Frozen Empire.
I haven't watched the trailer yet, but I saw it pop up on X.
Oh.
And I liked it, and I was like, I'm going to watch that later tonight.
You have to.
Now, who's the crew?
Everybody. They've got the
original
old
crew?
They're back.
Come on.
Except for Harold Ramis, R.I.P. I love what they did with Harold Ramis in Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I think they put that to rest. They got consent from his family to have his likeness. You know how Tarkin in Star Wars was brought back? They did the...
Is that what they're doing? Is that what they...
They did that for Harold Ramis in Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm not spoiling anything. The movie came out like 2
Don't
or 3
worry.
years
I'm not
ago.
going to see it.
It's so good, though.
Is it?
You need to see that one.
Yeah, but you're a Ghostbuster freak.
Who isn't a Ghostbusters freak?
I'm not a Ghostbusters freak.
Even the non-Ghostbusters freaks.
When I was little, I got scared of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I did. I'll just be honest with you. I haven't watched it since.
If you told me Vigo the Carpathian in Ghostbusters 2 scared you, I would be like, I understand. But
I was little. We were little when Stay Puft came out, man.
I love.
Weren't we like 8 or 9 years old when Stay Puft came out?
I was -1.
You weren't even born yet?
No.
When did Star Wars? Or when did Ghostbusters? When the
Summer
first
of
Ghostbusters?
'84.
Okay, so I was 3 years old.
I wasn't born.
So of course
till
I was scared of
fall
Stay Puft
85.
Marshmallow Man.
No.
I might have even been scared of Slimer at the time.
Yeah, Slimer I could see being scary, but if you told me Vigo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters 2 scared you, I'd be like, yeah, I get that.
Tommy, I couldn't even pick him out of a lineup.
He was the
I'm
painting
serious.
bad guy in part 2.
Part 2 is really scary.
It had some really dark elements. Better movie than it gets credit for being. Anyway, so the all-female cast one, although they had a star-studded cast, the writing in that and execution on it, Paul Feig did a terrible job on that movie. It had so much potential, they ruined it. It should be stricken from the Ghostbusters canon. They had a great opportunity, they blew it. Afterlife was great. Resuscitated. You want to talk about resuscitation of something? That resuscitated Ghostbusters, the franchise. This one, where they show Bill Murray, they show...
like the whole crew.
Ray Stantz, who's played by Dan Aykroyd, and they show Ernie Hudson, who's Winston, all in the trailer. And then, like, Paul Rudd's fantastic. Finn Wolfhard. McKenna Grace is great.
Jeez, you really love this movie, eh?
I think it's going to be amazing. And it's a new bad guy.
Okay.
Go check it out. I'm sorry to take this aside. We'll get back to
Did you have
Oilers.
the car as a kid?
Yes.
Yeah, we had the
I
Connecticut
had
too,
the
yeah.
I had the fire hall.
You're the fire hall too.
Firehouse, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I had everything.
Anyway, we'll get back on track here.
We're gonna get back on track.
Here, let's go with something that's scary.
All right.
Trade Campbell. This is a real nice, I guess we're in the spot now where we can start people can just start throwing out
Why
trade
not?
proposals
It's
again.
2 days between games here. Let's go.
Trade Campbell, Bouchard, Broberg, and a second that gets upgraded to a first if they make the second round
This year.
for Parayko and Binnington.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. I like that.
So what you're taking away from your roster here would be Bouchard.
Yeah.
Broberg's not on the roster right now.
No.
I don't give two you-know-whats about draft picks right now. I mean, they're in full-blown win-now mode. Who cares?
Yeah.
So you're bringing in Parayko instead of Bouchard. You're bringing in Binnington instead of Campbell. And Broberg in a second or likely a first in that situation would be going out the other way.
Yeah.
Is that getting too crazy?
It's pretty crazy. I like it from an Oilers standpoint. From a Blues standpoint, you're looking at your blue line, you're going, well, you've got Torrey Krug, pretty offensive. Justin Falk, pretty offensive. You lost Parayko. You got Nick Leddy, Marco Scandella, Robert Bortuzzo, Scott Perunovich, if he can stay healthy. And then now you're adding Evan Bouchard and Philip Broberg. Your defense just got a lot weaker.
Can we say that
Your
again?
own zone got horrible.
And which one? Sorry, I missed this.
So your defense for the Blues, right? If you're
Oh,
looking
for the
at it
Blues.
from
For
a
the Blues. Okay,
standpoint,
yeah. Sorry, I thought
Falk, Krug, Parayko's to Edmonton in this hypothetical trade scenario that was suggested to us. Then you have Nick Leddy, Scandella, Bortuzzo, and Perunovich if he stays healthy. That's his thing. He can't stay healthy. And then you're hypothetically adding Broberg and Bouchard. Your defense just got crappy. Like, it's all offense, no defense. Like, that's a weak...
This goes back around to the why is St. Louis doing this type of scenario.
Yes.
And the only reason St. Louis would get in any of this stuff is if it's a massive, massive overpay on the other side. Somebody did suggest is in the nasty chat, is Ken Holland going to have the old parting gift like Chiarelli did with the Koskinen contract?
I don't think he's
somewhere
that
along
type,
the way.
I don't think Ken Holland, one thing that, and love him or hate him, indifferent, you can give him credit for is he doesn't panic. Peter Chiarelli was in full-blown panic mode in 2018-19. And he made some disastrous moves. He took the advice of his then-coach, Ken Hitchcock. The way he got rid of Todd McClellan was panic and greasy. He was making terrible move after terrible move, bad decision after bad decision. And that's not Ken Holland's MO. I don't think Ken Holland is any mood to scramble to save his job because he knows he's done at the end of the year.
Okay, so somebody else asked in the nasty chatter in the inbox at 780-218-9999 if the Oilers are making calls on trades right now, who's making that call?
That's a great
question.
question.
Is it still Ken Holland? Is it what do they call him, 2J? Is it Paul Coffey? It's probably not Paul Coffey. So is Jeff Jackson or Ken Holland making the call?
The
on
actual dialing of the number
Ken Holland
is Ken Holland.
But then when
Now,
something comes up, he goes, "Just a sec, I have to check with my boss."
Let me get back to you, and then he checks back with the boss. You don't say it on the phone.
People know what he's doing. You might as
Yeah,
well
they
just
know.
bloody say it.
But you give him the respect and clout he deserves for being in the game for so long. I know it was with Detroit. I know he had unlimited budget. All right, I understand that and acknowledge it fully. But I would think he would have to go back to those two in Jeff Jackson and Paul Coffey, be like, listen, here's what's happening, and keeping them abreast of everything. That's how I feel it's probably going down. And I do think he's probably making calls because he's got to do something. They need something to jolt this team, and we've been saying it for a week and a half at least. So I would think that is the way or the process is going. But good question, like, who's making that call? Still Ken Holland. Who's he going back to after he says, I got to get back to you? Hey, listen to this, Paul. Listen to this, Jeff. What do you think of? Brainstorm, sesh. Get the gang in here, in the boardroom. Let's figure it out.
Get the whole crew in there. Work
Get the whole
together.
crew in there.
Find a solution.
Again, and I'm saying, like, there's some within hockey observers saying, I haven't really heard that discussion being had yet. So that's why I've
So
said
that might
keep it with a
that
grain
probably
of salt.
fires people up,
Yeah.
right? That
Or they're keeping it so close to the chest and they're leaving.
That people in the organization don't even really know what's going on.
Maybe there is some level of secrecy that Jeff Jackson has implemented with this.
I like that.
Trust. Yeah.
I like that.
That is a thing.
So is this where he would plant news with one guy and then see if it gets out and then plant other news with a different guy? Because I like the sneakiness to that.
The planting, that reminds me, I think, of the end of the Chiarelli era. There were plants being done. And even into when Keith Gretzky came in to mop up, there was planting happening. But it was different characters at the helm doing that.
And there was some planting at the time.
There was definitely,
just to know who was a leak and who wasn't.
Yeah.
So sneaky.
It is sneaky. I mean, it's crazy. Everything that's going on right now with this team and organization in this market is insane. And a month ago, when we were getting ready for opening night, we never would have thought that this is where we were at.
Things have changed quite a bit, eh?
Media-wise, team-wise, fan base-wise, league-wide. Everyone's pointing and laughing, going, look at the Oilers, cup or bust. And it wasn't the media that said the cup or bust thing. It was
I know. Some of us did
Draisaitl.
pick them to win the cup.
Absolutely.
But you can't get past it as like, the team wasn't saying this. Because they were.
They literally did. And
yeah.
And it got backed up from management. It got backed up from coaching staff. It got backed up from other players. And you look at what they've done in the last couple of years, you're like, yeah, that's fair. So, I mean, we want to point the finger. We want to blame. We want to be upset. And it's fun. It's part of the game. People's feelings do get hurt. But this is where we're at. And it's crazy. It still is crazy.
If you want to go watch the game somewhere, Boston Pizza would be a place that we would suggest. There's only about 1 million of them kicking around. $5 off medium pizzas, $1 off tankards of Canadian or Coors Light, $5.50 shots of Fireball, Jaeger, Burt Reynolds, Purple Rain, and Honey Jack. And it's going to be an absolutely great time. It's going to be kind of a little bit of a later start there. San Jose Sharks, get out with the crew and dive into one at Boston Pizza Lounge. It's the cool place to be.
Sweet. Who was it that texted in? Smitty the Welder says, Tommy just hates Campbell. I don't know where this narrative came from. I've seen it a few times. I don't.
Is part of it me being like, you hate Jack Campbell?
I do not. I really wanted to see him have success this year. I get along very well with him. I go and talk to him about stuff outside of hockey now that he's not around. I can't do that anymore. But I like Jack Campbell. I want to see him have success. So, Smitty the Welder, stop it, man. It's just on the ice. It ain't working. And some of the goals he lets in are just terrible. And I know and I recognize that there's been a whole host of
He was their best goalie in the playoffs last year. Well, he was. Yeah. He was good in the playoffs
in small
last
doses, year. I know. And so Smitty the Welder, just give up that whole thing. I don't hate him.
But
stop it.
But do you love him?
Stop it. As a person, sure. As a goalie right now, no. How can you? Do I love the team as a team right now? No, they're not playing well.
Zedmo says Campbell and Nuge for Binnington and Parayko.
You're going to have to get no trade movement.
Yeah,
no trade, no movement clauses.
Don't see that happening.
Yep. That's a lot of
with
work.
that being said, if we do get a blockbuster, this place will go nuts. Edmonton Sports Talk will go nuts.
Parayko also no trade clause too. Just to because I know we're
imagine him
out
saying no to coming home and playing for the Oilers.
That'd
be a tough look.
There have been Edmonton area products who grew up loving the Oilers saying no to the Oilers. That has happened.
I would never go back and work radio in Cranbrook. You know, the pressure on the local boy.
Right?
It just
unnecessary.
Yeah. This text rolls in for a first-time texter. Long-time East Coast listener.
Thank you.
Hey, are you listening on TuneIn? TuneIn have 1,000 likes already on TuneIn. Like, people favorited our station 1,000 times, so it just pops right back up, and boom, Bob's your uncle, and you're listening nice, crystal clear, static-free every single day from 6 until 1. Nielsen Show replay coming up, and those numbers have actually been pretty good. Like, we're getting a decent little amount of people just listening to the replay of our show in the afternoon. So
I appreciate that.
That's kind of nice. Longtime East Coast listener. All this talk of Woody not being able to hold players accountable, but on a good team, the players hold each other accountable. Where is that fire? It's way worse to be called out by a teammate than by a coach. Leaders need to lead off the ice sometimes too.
Yeah.
LFG. I think that's a great text.
Absolutely.
That's a great text. Like, it's funny because, like, it's a tough look because of, like, Evander Kane's history and stuff. But if Evander Kane came out and called out one of his teammates for lack of work ethic or poor decision-making, would we view that as, wow, now the room's falling apart because or we view it as these guys are trying to hold each other accountable?
I think we'd see a lot of comments and hear a lot of comments about now the team's falling apart if it were to be hypothetical again. Kane calling them out. And then there would be people who would recognize and appreciate him doing it. Would he be the best guy for that with his track record? Probably not. I stopped myself from making a Messier reference. What if the Bruins were struggling in the last few years? You had Patrice Bergeron there, Brad Marchand, who would probably call out their teammates. I'm sure it might have happened in the last few years. And then they would go out there and be all out, gutsy, and back up the talk with the walk. So there's a more recent example of guys who go do it. Nathan McKinnon is great at that with Landeskog. We need to see some of that from the big dogs here. That would be great. And to say stuff in the media, sometimes it's okay to stir it up a little bit and be like, you know what? I think we need to do this. We need to do that. Now, it has to be done right, and this market is way harder to do that in than a Colorado or a Boston.
Yeah, in those places, you're saying that to like two people.
Yeah, well, Colorado maybe. Boston, no.
No, not Boston.
But in Boston, the attitude it's different than the fan base here, where it would be, people would be like, yeah, you know what? Damn right Bergeron said that. Damn right Marchand said that. And then when the guys go
just
out
a harder spot, eh? Like,
yeah.
Like just people would view it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's a different mentality there than it is here. Colorado, more laissez-faire for sure. Plus, the Nugs are so good.
The dang Nugs, you can't be angry down there.
No.
You've won a Stanley Cup, you got the title. I mean, you could be mad about the Broncos, but guys, I know the price will be dear. This is a text to 780-218-9999. You are listening live to the Oil Stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Two guys and a goalie on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tomorrow we'll be setting up, obviously, the Oilers-Sharks game. What time does your pregame get going tomorrow?
7 o'clock. It's a late one.
8:30 start, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. That's 8:30 start. Like, come on, Bettman. Figure it out. Ridiculous.
Not going to happen.
I know the price will be dear, but in your opinion, what would it cost for the Oilers to acquire A, UC Saros, and B, have Nashville take back Jack Campbell in the process?
I don't think Nashville's
fun fairy tale
idea.
Yeah. Saros has this year and then one more year, and then he's a UFA. Mm-hmm. Maybe what you do is just start making sure that you have enough cap space in 25, 26 to go out. And by that point, he's 30.
Yes.
But I understand it's ridiculous. That deal, just for funsies, just for funsies, if they're taking back Jack Campbell, so they're taking that salary off your plate, and they would have to deal with it longer than this UC Saros deal. Yeah. And the UC Saros deal is, I mean, it's a sweetheart deal. He makes $5 million, makes the exact same.
Yeah.
But they're going to take Campbell back. I honestly, and go ahead and mock me if you think it's crazy, but I honestly think it would be Campbell, Holloway, a first, and something else to get UC Saros. Yeah. Because you're taking Campbell back. It's probably Broberg, Holloway, and a first if they're taking Campbell back.
Yeah. And then if Nashville, again, like I did with St. Louis, if Nashville were to do something like that and totally fleece Edmonton for some good pieces, is Nashville prepared to go with Kevin Lankinen and Jack Campbell in goal?
Well, they just beat the Oilers with that guy in net.
So. He looked pretty good, too, didn't he? And would UC Saros want to share the net with Stuart Skinner?
Probably not. Yeah. I mean, once again, it's not happening. It's not even a thing. It's not like Saros is available. But I just thought it would be fun to answer the question from that person.
Yeah, I get that.
maybe there could be a case for Binnington if some of these Binnington rumors are true.
Why wouldn't you call around to poke around and see what you can make happen? And I think that's something that.
Well, that's where
probably is
what happened
occurring.
here is that Ken Holland probably chatted with his buddy in St. Louis, and people might not even know what they were talking about, but they're like, well, it's got to be about goalie. It's got to be about Binnington. They're talking about Binnington. So
Someone
we'll see.
catches wind of it. Someone puts it on Twitter. It becomes a conversation.
Thank you for
A
the
fun
text, though.
conversation.
780-218-9999. Campbell in the first to somebody for future considerations.
Ooh.
We were asked this question today on 3 Questions Too Many on the Nielsen Show. What do you think is more likely? Campbell never plays for the Oilers again, or is starting a game in the playoffs? I already answered it earlier, so I'll see. You go first on this one.
Oh, this is awful.
Never plays a game for the Oilers again,
Yeah.
or gets to start a game in the playoffs, which last year they just wanted to keep going with Skinner.
Yeah. I think the starting a game in the playoffs is more likely.
That's what I said, too.
Yeah.
That's what I said, too, because the
Yeah.
plan here, not
That's
the plan,
awful.
but I would think he probably does well in the American League because it's the American League, and I think they have to be more defensively sound than this team.
They have the best save percentage in GAA.
Both
right?
of them.
The number 1 and 2.
Do you think that's just because both these goaltenders are absolutely incredible, or do you think it's because the team actually plays defense?
I think they're good goalies, and I think that the team helps them too. And it's a good combination. They're probably riding high, making some big saves, and at the same time, not having to deal with glorious scoring opportunities every 3 minutes.
So Campbell goes down there, plays well for 3 starts, and is back up here. I said he's back up here starting a game by the 27th, 28th of November.
You think so? I
3
think
weeks
he's
from
there
now.
for like a month and a half.
Month and a half.
Yeah.
So like you're looking at after Christmas he's back.
And he's only back if they're comfortable and things are going better, and Calvin Pickard isn't giving them much of an improvement over him. Like, Pickard's NHL numbers are not great.
No, Pickard, he had like parts of good years with Colorado.
Yep.
But every other look he's got since then, he has not had a save percentage above 900 since 2017.
Right.
It's 2023.
Now,
My daughter was not even born the last time. She's in grade 1 now. So, and to me, it's not like, yeah, well, but look at the teams. Yeah, but look at the chances that this team is hemorrhaging against. So I hope, you know what, this would be a great story. Him coming up, standing on his head, which he may have to do. Like, I know a lot of people just, well, you just need to be steady. You don't need to be steady. The team gives up way too many chances for just a steady goalie to go out and face 21 shots and 2 grade A scoring chances against. Like, you can't, steady's not good enough. Whoever's going to be in that net has to be
He lights
borderline
up.
brilliant.
what if he's the modern-day Michael Layton? That is awful. to
What
even
if he's
think
just a slightly older Jordan Binnington and he goes on a
Wonderful.
miraculous run? Maybe
that.
that's something
Unlikely,
you can
but
look
you
at as
never
well.
know. I guess we'll find out.
We'll see.
Yeah. We burnt up a whole hour. That was fast.
Just on Jack Campbell, basically.
That was so fast.
Yeah, hey, time flies when you're having fun with friends. And when people are hammering the nasty chat and obviously texting in like crazy as well. If you want to bet the Oilers to win big against San Jose tomorrow, which I do think I will be, this will be the last straw
For you?
from a betting perspective.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be on the Oilers minus 2.5.
Okay.
I'm going to say they crush them. And if they don't even cover the 2.5, I don't even care if they win comfortably 3-1. I'm still going to be pissed.
You should be.
So if you want to ride that tomorrow with me, it'll be up early in the morning, probably be up late tonight. But I'll be very intrigued to see what that number will be with our great partners over at Cool Bets. Sign up for an account today using the code LOCKSHOP, and you get a nice little deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200 at www.coolbet.com. Jay Bobby says Woody should start PP2 based on their recent success. I'd still give the final minute to PP1 if they don't score. Reward PP2, and teams have adapted to the drop pass entry and pressure Draisaitl side. So
TP2's on fire right now.
well, they got 2 goals in the last
2 games.
2 games. How about that old PP2? All right, that's going to do it for the Oil Stream today. Nielsen Show replay coming up here on TuneIn, or if you're listening at edmontonsportstalk.com. And we will be back tomorrow morning on YouTube, bright and early, getting you set for the Oilers and the San Jose Sharks in a battle for the ages between two clubs that are really struggling to start the year.
Oh, boy.
We'll set that bad boy up for you tomorrow. Tommy, get us out of here, my man.
Share, subscribe, smash that thumbs up button on YouTube, please and thank you. We're well over 5,000
We're over
subscribers.
5,200 now.
Keep it coming.
Yeah, let's
you know
go.
we're bringing the good stuff day in, day out right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. And if you're listening on TuneIn, also
tell your
favorite
friends,
us.
man.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell your friends, and we keep this ball rolling, win or lose, sunshine or gloom and doom. But thanks for tuning into the Oil Stream. We'll see you tomorrow.